everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. I'm excited today to announce, although the title of this video already gives it away, Cthulhu Death May Die, the solo setup video. And of course, whenever you see a solo setup video on the channel, you know that that is going to involve a full showcase or playthrough of the game itself. And that's exactly what I intend to do, and also get the game to the table really quickly during this video. So that's the focus, is to get the setup done. So the thing I want to mention right off the bat here is that my patrons on Patreon are going to be getting a vote, and we're going to have a vote that's going to show up there, and they're going to be able to go ahead and vote on which characters are going to appear inside this playthrough. Now, one that's already locked in stone is the one that says Adam, because, well, if I don't use this one, somebody's going to yell at me, and I want to use it. So that one is already stuck in stone. But when you're playing this game in a single player fashion, you need to choose two characters. So that's going to leave us with a whole slew of other characters to choose from. During that particular vote on my Patreon, that is where my patrons are going to be able to steer me in a direction towards who is going to be journeying along with Adam in this very first playthrough. So without further ado, how about we get the game set up and ready to play? The first step of setup is to set out the storyboard, tokens, and dice. So we got the storyboard right here. We've got tokens across the top here. So first off, this storyboard right here has an Elder One slot, an episode slot, Elder One minion slot, and then an episode monsters area. Now we'll go ahead and populate this storyboard in a few moments, but first let's just talk about the different type of tokens that you're seeing above that storyboard. Starting with the tokens on the far left and moving to the far right, we have the progression token. This token is going to reside on this track right here as we go through the playthrough. Right here at the very top, we also have the one starting space token. Next up, we have the 3 gate tokens in different colors. We have 2 staircase tokens and 2 tunnel tokens. We also have 6 level 1 skill tokens right here. We of course have fire tokens, and we have our actual wound tokens, a larger pile on the far right. These right here are the dice that come inside of the core set, but due to the Kickstarter, there was another set of additional dice called the Frost dice. So I'm going to be going ahead and swapping these ones out, and I will use them if I run out of dice, but instead use these ones from the Kickstarter. Step number 2 has us choosing our Elder One, and in this case for the playthrough, I'm going to use Cthulhu. There's also another Elder One in the base box or core experience called Haster. So let's go ahead and open this box up and get its components in play. The very first thing we're going to do is going to grab our Elder One, in this case Cthulhu. We're going to place it in the very first position of the summoning track. Next up, we're going to take the Minions reference card and we're going to place it in the Elder One minion slot on the storyboard like so. Next, find the Elder One stage cards and make sure that they're in order. As you can see in this case, stage 1 through to the final stage. Put them in a pile with the first stage on top and slot it into the Elder One area on the storyboard. Next, take all of the Mythos cards that you found in your Elder One box and place them somewhere nearby. And also, if there's any tokens that come with the Elder One, ensure that they're added to the token pool. Moving on to step number 3, we're now going to choose an episode. There are 6 episode boxes that are this size inside the core box. We're going to begin with the very first episode. You're going to take out everything inside this box. When you open up an episode box, you're going to find things like these Mythos cards here. You'll find 15 Discovery cards specific to the episode, as well as the episode card itself, as well as monster reference cards and tokens that correlate just to this particular episode. Again, you never want to merge anything in episode number 1 with episode number 2. Every episode's contents that come outside of the box, you want to keep intact in that episode only. The only thing that ever gets merged together are an Elder One with a particular episode of your choosing. With our episode now chosen, we're going to take the episode reference card and we're going to place it in the slot like so. The last slot remaining on the board is the episode monster. So we have that reference sheet, again, specific to the episode we've chosen, placed in like so. Now everything on the storyboard is in its slots. I've now gone ahead and punched out all the new fire tokens that will be meshed in with the base game tokens. You don't have to worry about separating these ones out, as these are generic across any episode where you could potentially have fire. So you can just essentially merge those two together to have a larger pile of fire tokens. There are also some episode-specific tokens, which I'm going to place in the pool as well. We'll find out more about what these tokens do later on, but they have an icon on the front that looks like a beaker. Next, we're going to take the 8 Mythos cards that came inside the episode box, and we're going to merge them with the 8 Mythos cards that came from the Elder one that we chose to make a single deck. The Mythos deck is now all shuffled together and placed next to the summoning track, but you can put this wherever you'd like within easy reach. And the last piece of the episode box is the discovery cards. There are 15 of them. I've shuffled them together and I'm going to just place them to the side of the board like so. These may move around based on my setup when I go into the playthrough, but for now I want to keep all this stuff in one area. So here is an up close look at the episode reference card that we placed on the storyboard. I've taken it off the storyboard in order to flip it over and show you the back side, because the next step of setup is to set up the main board according to the instructions on the back of this episode card. So let's flip this thing over and take a look at the back. I'm going to do that so that we can save some time, but wanted to show you how it's supposed to look, and in a second here you're going to see it all laid out. Here is a look at the setup for episode number 1. We have a number of fire tokens here throughout this first level. There's also another level off to the right we'll talk about in a second. We have one gigantic creature sitting in this room right here, as well as what is called a lab inside this scenario. And inside of this section or this level, there's 1, 2, 3 different labs. We also have some spawn zones in here as well. Plus we have some stairs that lead to that other level we'll take a look at in a second, and wonderful cultists all around waiting for us. And finally, we have the starting space right there. On the right hand side of the board, we have a cultist sitting in this room with a lab over here. We have a spawn area here. 2 of the rooms have fire in it. There's the stairwell that connects to the stairwell on the opposite side that we were looking at earlier. We also have a fire vampire sitting in one of the rooms as well. The next step of setup is to have each player select an investigator board and its figure. So that's going to include the actual player base as well as the tracker tokens, which are going to be slotted in on the player board. Now, if you have the Kickstarter edition with the stretch goals, you're going to have an actual cased housing, which is going to go around the actual player board, allowing for recessed areas for those trackers to sit in as you uptick the skills over the course of the game. If you don't have this, then you'll just be placing them straight on the character board. But this is a really nice addition during the Kickstarter to kind of ensure that if anyone bumps the table or you bump the table playing solo, then nothing is going to move anywhere. Another really important thing to note about setting up your character is if you're playing solo, as I will be, you will be choosing 2 investigators. You're going to control both of them and alternate between them. So obviously, being that this character's name is Adam, I'm absolutely going to be using this as one of the characters. And in order to select the second character, I'm going to go to my Patreon account and I'm going to be setting up a vote there to be able to vote on which other character is going to pair up with Adam and join us on episode number 1. So that vote is underway as of the release of this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to turn out. Next, you're going to go ahead and grab all the insane conditions inside the box. You're going to give them a nice little shuffle so that you have absolutely no idea which one is which. And we're just going to go ahead and split the deck here. We'll take one right from the center. This is going to be insanity condition for Adam. I've got short-term memory loss. It says, if you're at full stress, heal all of your stress and discard 1 discovery card of your choice. If you are not at full stress, take 1 stress. And as you can see here, I don't have a second character picked out. As I mentioned earlier, once I have all the votes in on the Patreon, then I'm going to be able to go ahead and select that second character. I'll set them up in the exact same manner that I set up Adam. And once you know the characters that you've selected, you're going to go ahead and ensure the player base is snapped onto the miniature, and you're going to place them in the starting space, which for this episode is right there. The final step of setup is to determine the starting player, and you can do this however you'd like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Adam actually go ahead and roll the black die. I'm going to have my other unknown partner, which will be determined shortly, roll a green die, and whichever one lands an elder sign first is going to be the starting player. We're going to let fate decide here. So let's go ahead and roll these off and see how it goes. Check that out, Adam. It was meant to be. You are going to start things out. So we take the Mythos deck as a whole here and place it next to this character. And that's going to conclude the setup for Cthulhu Death May Die. I hope you'll join me as we go through episode number 1 together. In the next video, we'll go through some of the flavor text leading into this scenario, what we're actually trying to accomplish, and read through some of these major stage cards and the episode cards to find out even more about our objectives and what actions we have available to us. So until the next time, thanks so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.